Hi, my name is Emma. I want to tell you my story. It is a story about my life, my struggles, and how I learned English. When I was young, my life was not easy. I faced many challenges, and sometimes I felt lost. But I never gave up. I want to share my story with you because I know it can help others. English was not my first language. At first, I could not understand it very well. I could not speak English clearly, and I often made mistakes. Sometimes I felt embarrassed when I tried to talk to people. Sometimes I felt frustrated because I wanted to understand more, but I could not. Even though learning English was hard, I knew it was very important. I knew it could help me in school, in my future, and in life. I knew English could open many doors for me, and I wanted to open those doors. I want to be honest with you. My life had many difficult moments. My dad left my family when I was very young. It was a very sad time for me. I felt lonely and confused. I did not know how to deal with these feelings. I felt like the world was against me. But through all this sadness, I found hope. I found hope in learning English. English became my way to feel stronger. It became my way to communicate with the world. It became my way to dream for a better life. In this video, I will share how I started learning English. I will share the challenges I faced and how I overcame them. I will share the small steps I took every day to improve. And I will share how English became more than a language for me. It became my hope. I want you to listen carefully and practice with me. If I can learn English, you can too. It is not easy at first, but with practice, patience, and courage, you can improve. You can understand more. You can speak more clearly. You can feel more confident. Now, let's start this journey together. I will take you step by step through my story. We will practice English together. We will speak, listen, and repeat. Are you ready? Let's begin. When I was young, my dad left my family. I remember that day very clearly. It was like a part of my life disappeared. I did not understand why he left. I kept asking myself, why did this happen to me? I felt so many emotions at the same time: sadness, confusion, and anger. I wanted to cry, but sometimes I could not even cry. Life became very hard after that. My mom had to work many hours to take care of us. I had to take care of myself sometimes. I had to learn to do things that I was too young for. I had to cook small meals, clean the house, and help my little brother and sister. I felt like I had too many responsibilities for my age. I felt lonely a lot. Sometimes I came home from school, and the house was quiet. I looked for my dad, but he was never there. I wanted someone to talk to, someone to hug me, someone to tell me that everything would be okay. But no one was there. I felt like I was all alone in the world. I was confused about many things. I did not know why life could be so unfair. I did not understand why my family had to go through so much pain. I asked my mom many questions, but sometimes even she did not have the answers. I tried to focus on school, but my mind was always somewhere else. I wanted to learn, but my heart felt heavy with sadness. Even though life was hard, I started to notice small things that could make me feel better. I liked listening to music. I liked reading short stories. Sometimes I wrote my feelings in a notebook. It was a way to express my sadness. It was a way to feel a little less alone. At school, I tried to speak to my friends, but I often felt shy. I did not want anyone to know how sad I was inside. I wanted to appear strong, even when I was hurting. Sometimes I laughed with my friends, but inside I felt pain. Even in these difficult moments, I started to notice something important. I realized that I could not change the past. I could not bring my dad back, but I could try to make my future better. I could try to learn new things. I could try to take control of my own life. English became a small light in my dark world. It was something I could focus on. It was something I could practice every day. Even when I felt sad, I could read an English story, listen to an English song, or try to speak a few words. It gave me hope that one day I could do something great. Life after my dad left was not easy, but it taught me a very important lesson. Even when things seem impossible, we can find a small way to keep moving forward. Even when we feel lonely, there is a chance to find hope. Even when we are confused, we can start learning and growing. This was the hardest part of my life, but it was also the beginning of my journey. A journey where I would learn English, improve myself, and discover that I could overcome sadness with courage and patience. English was not easy for me. When I first started, I did not understand anything. The words sounded strange. The sentences were long and confusing. I could not speak clearly, and I often felt nervous when I tried. I didn't know where to start. There were so many books, so many words, and so many rules. I felt overwhelmed. I thought, how can I ever learn this language? Sometimes I wanted to give up. It felt impossible, like climbing a very high mountain without help. At school, I tried to pay attention in English class. I listened to the teacher, but many times I could not understand. The words went too fast, and I felt left behind. Other students could speak more clearly. They could read better and answer questions faster. I felt frustrated because I wanted to be good too, but I did not know how. Sometimes I tried to read English books. The words were difficult. I had to use a dictionary for almost every sentence. It took a long time, and sometimes I felt tired. I asked myself, am I too slow? Will I ever understand English? These questions made me feel sad, but I kept trying anyway. Speaking was even harder. When I tried to talk, I often made mistakes. I said the wrong words, or I forgot words I knew. Sometimes people laughed, and I felt embarrassed. I wanted to speak, but fear stopped me. I was afraid of making mistakes in front of others. Even listening was difficult. When someone spoke English, I could only understand small parts. I could hear the words, but I did not know the meaning. It felt like a puzzle I could not solve. I wanted to understand, but the more I listened, the more confused I felt. Despite these challenges, I tried different ways to learn. I listened to simple English songs. I watched short English videos. I practiced repeating the sentences I heard. Sometimes I spoke to myself in English. I made small notes and wrote words again and again. Slowly, I realized that learning English is not about being perfect. It is about trying every day, little by little. It is about making mistakes and learning from them. It is about having patience and believing that improvement will come. Even though English was hard, I started to enjoy small victories. When I understood a new word, I felt happy. When I could read a short sentence without help, I felt proud. When I said a sentence correctly, I felt confident. I learned that challenges are part of learning. If learning English was easy, it would not be valuable. The difficulty made me stronger. The mistakes taught me lessons. The fear made me brave. I knew that even though I did not know where to start, I could take small steps. One word at a time. One sentence at a time. One small success at a time. And so I continued. I kept practicing, listening, speaking, reading, and trying every day. Even though it was hard, I knew that one day, all this effort would help me understand and speak English better. Even though learning English was very hard, I knew I could not give up. I knew that if I stopped trying, I would never improve. I wanted a better future. I wanted to be confident when I spoke English. I wanted to understand people and communicate without fear. I thought about my life and my dreams. I imagined myself speaking English clearly. I imagined myself reading books, listening to songs, and watching movies in English. I imagined traveling to new places and talking to people from different countries. I imagined feeling proud of myself and my achievements. These thoughts gave me motivation. I realized that English was not just a subject in school. It was a key to many opportunities. It was a way to open doors that were closed before. It was a chance to build the life I wanted. I also thought about my family. Even though my dad had left, I wanted to make my mom proud. I wanted to show her that I could be strong. I wanted to help my family in the future. I knew that learning English could help me do that. Every day, I reminded myself why I was learning English. I wrote small notes and put them where I could see them. I wrote, "I can do this, never give up, and step by step." These words became my encouragement. Whenever I felt tired or frustrated, I read them and felt a little stronger. I also saw other people who were learning English. I noticed how hard they worked, how they practiced every day, and how they improved slowly. I realized that learning a language is a journey. It takes time, patience, and consistent effort. No one becomes fluent in one day, and that was okay. What mattered was that I kept trying. Motivation does not mean you never feel tired or scared. It means that even when you feel those things, you continue. It means that you have a reason to keep going. I found my reason in my dreams, my goals, and my desire to improve my life. Sometimes, I imagined myself 1 year later. I imagined how happy I would feel if I could speak English without fear. I imagined how proud I would feel if I could understand everything I heard. I imagined how my life could change if I kept learning every day. This imagination gave me energy. It gave me hope. It made me want to wake up every day and practice. Even when learning was difficult, I reminded myself of the bigger picture. I also understood that motivation comes from small victories. When I learned a new word, I celebrated. When I read a sentence correctly, I smiled. When I spoke a sentence without mistakes, I felt proud. These small moments gave me more motivation than anything else. I learned that motivation is not something you wait for. It is something you create. It comes from your goals, your dreams, and your determination. It comes from reminding yourself every day why you started. Even when life was hard, even when English was difficult, motivation kept me going. It helped me move forward step by step, little by little. It gave me the strength to continue my journey, even when I felt tired, scared, or frustrated. And that is why motivation is so important. It is the fuel that keeps us learning, growing, and improving. It is the reason we continue, even when things are difficult. Without motivation, I might have given up. But with it, I knew I could reach my dreams. After I found my motivation, I knew it was time to start my English journey. I wanted to improve, but I didn't know where to begin. I felt nervous, but I also felt excited. I knew that the first step was always the hardest, but I was ready to try. I decided to start slowly. I did not try to learn everything at once. I chose small goals every day. For example, I learned 5 new words every day. I practiced saying them out loud. I wrote them down in my notebook. It was a small step, but it helped me feel progress. Listening was also very important. I listened to English songs, short stories, and simple conversations. At first, I did not understand much. I could hear the words, but I did not know their meaning. Sometimes, I listened again and again. Sometimes, I paused and repeated the sentences. Little by little, I began to understand more. Speaking was very scary at first. I was afraid to make mistakes. I was afraid people would laugh at me. But I learned something important. Mistakes are part of learning. I started speaking English to myself. I repeated words, phrases, and sentences out loud. I spoke slowly and carefully. Sometimes I recorded my voice to check my pronunciation. Reading helped me a lot too. I read short English stories every day. I highlighted words I didn't know. I used a dictionary to understand them. I read the same story many times until I could understand it without help. Reading gave me confidence. It showed me that I could understand English if I practiced. Writing was another way to practice. I wrote short sentences about my day. I wrote about my feelings, my dreams, and my thoughts. Sometimes I wrote simple stories in English. Writing helped me remember words and practice grammar. It also helped me express myself better in English. I created a daily routine for learning English. Every morning, I spent 15 minutes learning new words. Every afternoon, I listened to English audio. Every evening, I read and wrote a little. I practiced speaking whenever I could. It was not easy to keep this routine, but I tried my best. I also used English in real life. I spoke to friends online. I tried simple conversations with teachers. I watched English videos and tried to repeat the sentences. Even small actions helped me improve. I learned that consistency is more important than speed. At the beginning, progress was slow. Sometimes I felt frustrated because I could not understand or speak well. But I reminded myself of my motivation. I reminded myself that every small step counts. Even if I learned one new word a day, it was better than doing nothing. Even if I spoke only one sentence correctly, it was a success. Starting this journey was not easy, but it was exciting. I learned that learning English is not about being perfect. It is about trying, practicing, and improving every day. It is about believing in yourself and your ability to grow. Now, when I look back, I see that this first step was very important. It gave me the foundation to continue learning. It gave me confidence to face challenges. It showed me that even small actions can create big results over time. This was the beginning of my English journey. A journey of listening, speaking, reading, writing, and learning every day. A journey of courage, patience, and hope. A journey that would slowly change my life. Even though I had started my English journey, it was not easy. Learning a new language is always full of challenges. Sometimes I felt tired. Sometimes I felt frustrated. Sometimes I wanted to give up. At the beginning, speaking was the hardest part. I made many mistakes. I forgot words I knew. Sometimes I mixed words or said them in the wrong order. When this happened in front of others, I felt embarrassed. I thought, why can't I speak like others? It was hard to be patient with myself. Listening was also very difficult. Even after practicing, I could not understand everything. When people spoke fast, I missed many words. I often had to ask, can you repeat that? Sometimes I felt shy to ask. I wanted to understand everything immediately, but it was impossible. Reading English texts was another challenge. Some sentences were long and confusing. I did not understand all the words. Sometimes I had to read the same paragraph many times. It felt slow and I thought, am I making progress? Writing was not simple either. I wanted to write correctly, but sometimes I made grammar mistakes. I spelled words wrong or used the wrong tenses. When I checked my work, I felt disappointed. I wondered, will I ever write correctly? Even though all these difficulties were frustrating, I learned something important. I learned that difficulties are part of learning. They are not a reason to stop. They are a reason to try harder. Every mistake I made taught me something new. Every problem I faced gave me a chance to improve. I started finding solutions to my difficulties. When I could not understand a word, I looked it up in a dictionary. When I forgot a word, I wrote it down and practiced it again. When I made mistakes in speaking, I repeated the sentence slowly until it was correct. I learned to be patient with myself and to keep trying. Sometimes I felt very tired. Some days I wanted to stop studying, but I reminded myself of my goals. I reminded myself why I had started. I thought about my dreams and my future. This motivation helped me continue, even on hard days. I also learned to celebrate small victories. When I understood a sentence I could not before, I felt proud. When I spoke without mistakes, I smiled. When I read a paragraph without help, I felt confident. These small successes gave me the courage to face bigger challenges. I realized that overcoming difficulties is not about being perfect. It is about persistence. It is about trying again and again. It is about believing in yourself, even when things are hard. Little by little, I became stronger. I improved my listening. I improved my speaking. I improved my reading and writing. Every challenge I faced made me better. Every difficulty I overcame gave me confidence. I understood that learning English is a journey. It has ups and downs. Some days are easy and some days are hard. But if you keep moving forward, you will improve. If you keep practicing, you will succeed. Overcoming difficulties taught me a lesson for life. Even when things are hard, we can keep trying. Even when we feel frustrated, we can find solutions. Even when we make mistakes, we can learn from them. This is how I became stronger, more confident, and more motivated to continue my English journey. After many days, weeks, and months of practicing English, I began to notice changes. I could understand more words when I listened. I could read sentences more easily. I could write simple paragraphs without too many mistakes. These small improvements made me very happy. Speaking English became less scary. I could say short sentences with confidence. I could introduce myself to new people. I could ask questions and answer questions in English. Even when I made small mistakes, I did not feel embarrassed anymore. I knew mistakes were part of learning, and that was okay. Little by little, I felt more confident. I could follow short conversations in English. I could understand simple English songs and stories. I could read short stories and even understand the meaning of most words. I realized that all my effort was paying off. All the listening, speaking, reading, and writing I did every day was helping me improve. I also started to feel proud of myself. I remembered the days when I did not know where to start. I remembered how hard it was to understand a single English word. Now I could do much more than I ever thought I could. This made me realize that progress comes with patience and practice. Even small progress gave me hope. I understood that learning English is not about being perfect. It is about moving forward step by step. It is about celebrating every success, no matter how small. Every word I learned, every sentence I spoke, and every story I read brought me closer to my goal. Hope became very important to me. English was no longer just a subject or a challenge. It became a light in my life. It became something that made me feel stronger. It gave me courage to face other difficulties in life. It gave me confidence that I could overcome sadness, loneliness, and fear. I realized that progress is not always fast. Sometimes it feels slow. Sometimes it feels like we are not moving at all. But if we continue, even slowly, we will improve. Even one word learned today is better than nothing. Even one sentence spoken correctly is a step forward. I also began to see how my progress inspired me in other areas of life. I became more patient. I became more confident. I became more motivated to try new things. Learning English taught me that challenges can be overcome with determination. Hope gave me energy to keep practicing. I imagined myself speaking English fluently one day. I imagined reading long stories and understanding everything. I imagined writing sentences easily and communicating with people from all over the world. This hope kept me moving forward every single day. Now, I want to tell you that progress is possible for everyone. No matter how hard learning English may feel at first, it can be done. Every small step counts. Every small success leads to bigger success. Even when it feels impossible, do not give up. English became more than a language for me. It became my dream. It became my goal. It became my hope for a better life. And I know that if I can improve, anyone can. Remember, progress may be slow at first, but it is real. Every word, every sentence, every conversation helps you grow. Even when you make mistakes, you are learning. Even when you feel tired, you are moving forward. Hope and progress go together. Hope keeps you motivated, and progress shows you that your hope is real. This is how I learned to believe in myself. This is how I learned that English is more than just words. It is a journey, a dream, and a way to build a brighter future. Now I want to share my story with you. I hope it can help you feel motivated and inspired. Learning English was not easy for me. I faced many challenges. I felt lonely, frustrated, and sometimes I wanted to give up. But I kept trying. I practiced every day. I listened, I spoke, I read, and I wrote. I made mistakes, but I learned from them. I did not stop, even when it was hard. And step by step, I improved. I want you to know that if I can do it, you can too. Even if learning English feels difficult now, it will get easier. Even if you make mistakes, it is okay. Mistakes are part of learning. Every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. Do not be afraid to practice. Do not be afraid to speak, even if it is not perfect. Do not be afraid to listen, even if you do not understand everything at first. Every time you try, you are learning. Every time you practice, you are growing. Set small goals for yourself. Learn a few words every day. Listen to short stories or songs. Speak sentences slowly and clearly. Read small texts and try to understand them. Write about your day or your feelings in English. Little by little, you will see progress. Remember, learning English is a journey. It takes time, patience, and effort. There will be good days and hard days. But do not give up. Keep moving forward, even if it is slowly. Each step is important. Each step matters. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can improve. Believe that your efforts will lead to success. When you feel tired or frustrated, remember why you started. Think about your dreams and your goals. This motivation will help you continue. I also want you to remember this. English is more than words. It is a key to new opportunities. It is a way to communicate with people from all over the world. It is a tool to help you reach your dreams. Even if your journey is difficult, remember that progress is possible. Even if you feel alone, remember that practice will help you grow. Even if you make mistakes, remember that every mistake teaches you something. You are capable of learning. You are capable of improving. You are capable of achieving your goals. Do not compare yourself to others. Focus on your own journey. Take small steps every day. I hope my story encourages you to keep learning. I hope it reminds you that challenges are normal. I hope it shows you that hope, determination, and practice can help you succeed. Keep believing in yourself. Keep practicing English every day. Keep trying, even when it is hard. Your small steps today will become big successes tomorrow. Remember, Learning English is not about being perfect. It is about trying, practicing, and never giving up. It is about moving forward step by step. It is about having hope, courage, and determination. If I can learn English, you can too. If I can overcome difficulties, you can too. If I can find hope and progress, you can too. Believe in yourself. Take action. Keep moving forward. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you imagine. Keep going. Keep learning. Your journey is just beginning, and your future is full of possibilities. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helped you feel motivated to keep learning English. If you liked this video, please like and share it. Subscribe to the channel for more stories and English practice. Comment below and tell me, what is your English goal? Remember, keep practicing every day. You can do it. I believe in you.